guys are out there in the trenches. It's bizarre that we are facing a pandemic that has left us where we are clearly divided about the simplest thing. Treatments are treatments. They're not all going to work. Some are going to fail. You're going to experiment. But in most diseases, right, doctors get in there and you figure it out. And in this one, for some reason, we got blocked into this thing where it's like, no, no, no. And I think you have an opinion on partly why.
Well, you have to ask yourself, why, if we have a solution, or we have effective treatments, why aren't they being recognized and disseminated across the world? And there's really two forces that I think we're up against. The first force is that, in general, our health agencies are suffering what's called regulatory capture. They're largely driven by financial interests, external financial interests, that are really influenced in making sure that the solution to the pandemic is one that is profitable. Vaccines are profitable. The other challenge that we're having, which is somewhat overlapping, is that in academia, what we call the ivory towers, the big academic institutions, in the last 10 years, there's been this sort of increasing belief into the idea that the only proof of efficacy of a drug has to come out of a large, double-blind, randomized controlled trial. When you do a randomized controlled trial, you have to first make the diagnosis. Everyone has to have a positive test. They have to have symptoms. They have to be enrolled, consented, randomized, and then the drug is delivered. Each one of those steps takes time. And so by the time they do these randomized controlled trials, oftentimes it's very delayed, and oftentimes it's underdosed, because they're using doses that I was using 6 months ago. We move with this pandemic because we can't prove it with the one tool that we need to prove it. We are getting suppressed, and that message is getting suppressed.
Who funds big randomized controlled trials?
That would be pharma generally. Now, there is philanthropy and there is the NIH.
But they tend to be big.
But however, the NIH and pharma are quite tightly linked.
Let's just take a minute and address some of the vaccine-related questions that I think people have.